on the purchase of a new 2023 Kia Sorento. Bill Bird Kia is the home of the 20-year, 200,000-mile warranty. Stop by and see us at 2435 East 15th Street or anytime at BillBirdKiaPanamaCity.com. We'll treat you like family and give you the peace of mind you can trust. Offer from Kia Finance America for the purchase of a new 2023 Kia Sorento with $2,122 per month for $1,000 finance for 48 months. Quantities limited. No down payment required. Cannot be combined with other finance offers. The 20-year, 200,000-mile warranty is a Bill Bird Kia warranty. Must see dealer for complete details. Offer for well-qualified buyers. Must take delivery from dealer stock through 3/4/24.
Los Rancheros has been doing it right for 20 years. Los Rancheros brings a top-shelf dining experience to you with the opening of their beautiful new building. Watch all college and pro games on Los Rancheros' 14 large-screen TVs with great drink specials daily from 2 to 5 and during all the games. Los Rancheros, the place for live sports and great food on 23rd Street between Jenks and Harrison.
Kitchen Designs in Panama City Beach and Santa Rosa Beach want to help you make your dream kitchen a reality in 2024. Family owned and operated for over 20 years, they offer cabinets, countertops, flooring, and tile. Their cash and carry program offers Shaker White cabinets available the very next day. Call Kitchen Designs to make your dream come true. 850-775-4150.
PCB Hobby, the beach's premier hobby store for sports cards, comics, coins, and trading card games. PCB Hobby carries the largest selection of boxes and packs from the latest releases of brands like Topps, Panini, Leaf, and more. Looking for a specific player or team? PCB Hobby has a wide assortment of raw and graded cards. They carry parallel rookie, game used, and autographed cards in both modern and vintage. Have a collection you want to sell? We buy, sell, and trade. PCB Hobby on Back Beach Road, just east of Florida Linen. Call 850-320-8388.
Hey, I'm Reba McEntire. Growing up in Oklahoma, I had big dreams of becoming a successful country music singer. But I also knew the odds were against me and that I needed an education to fall back on. Studying never got in the way of my dreams. In fact, school gave me lots of opportunities I wouldn't have had otherwise with my career. Please stay in school and try your best. You never know where a good education might take you. This message is brought to you by the U.S. Air Force.
The Panhandle's destination for live play-by-play.
WGSX Lynn Aiden, WVLQ Port St. Joe, ESPN Northwest Florida.
Let's play the game.
Sports Talk Radio will never be the same.
I just don't think that anybody's going to succeed in that system.
It's a bad organization.
It's just a bad organization.
The Afternoon Underdogs.
Onion pickles, onions pickles.
Live and local.
Look, it's impressive.
On ESPN
Northwest Florida.
Wagwan! Welcome in to the Afternoon Underdogs. This is ESPN Northwest Florida 104.3 right here in Panama City, 101.9 in Port St. Joe. Man, what a great day it is to be alive here on Wednesday, January 30th. And it is time for some flag football playoffs, which means I'm only going to be here for the first hour of the show, but we've got you guys. It's just, a good old typo. It is Wednesday, though, correct? It is Wednesday, and the typo, well, I guess it's not necessarily a typo if you didn't change the date. That would just be, I changed the day, but I didn't change the date. So Wednesday, January 31st, not to be confused with tomorrow, which will be February 1st, and I appreciate you catching me on that. The only thing I'm worried about right now, flag football playoffs, though, man. Get the
out, I see.
Yeah, man, gotta be. I mean, shout out to Mark McKinney for getting us these hoodies. Shout out to Ryan Mulvey, who's going to be roaming the sidelines tonight. For those of you who have been following along that journey, I mean, the three letters come to mind. Two of them are the same, W and O. Wow.
Yeah.
I mean, when he texted me, I had my first youth basketball game the other evening, and when the game was over, he texted me. I was like, never in a million years would have I guessed him texting on the same night. You know what I mean? With everything going on. So, he should be coaching tonight and looking for a win for Team Dynasty tonight. Should be a lot of fun. It's going to be starting at 6 o'clock, Frank Nelson. So, it's going to be a good time for sure. If you'd like to come root on Team Dynasty, then you can do that at Frank Nelson, 6 o'clock this evening. But thoughts and prayers continued for the Mulvey family as not just, over the hump yet. He posted on Facebook today. He's got that scar. Man, that's a good one right there.
That's gnarly. I think, I think he should probably wear it proudly. Just go ahead and just shave the rest of it off. Bruce Willis style,
There we go.
And then just let it ride, man.
I mean, that thing is like, I think you put the perfect descriptor there. Gnarly. That's absolutely what it is. But thoughts and prayers continue for the Mulvey family there. And come support them. Hey, you want to see them? Come to the game tonight and show them your support. Should be a great time. It will be a great time. Win or lose, man. That's why we don't play obviously, we want to win, but win or lose is still, hey, we are out there playing.
So Dennis Green doesn't coach for y'all?
No, he doesn't. I don't know because obviously, I mean, that's why, we do play to win the game. But at the end of the day, man, think about it. We could not be playing.
Yeah.
We could not have the abilities to play.
Right.
There's just, the list goes on and on. There's so much to be thankful for. And we're going to start it off with talking about who all we have on today. Coming up next, we're going to have Dr. A, which is from the Inside Drive. He covers the NBA. He's a writer for ESPN and a myriad of different sources as well. Steve Alexander will join us at 4:20. At 4:40, we're going to have our weekly segment with Coach Rusty Cook. He is the assistant coach over there for the Gulf Coast Commodores men's basketball team. They have a game tonight. We'll talk a little bit more about that. Really appreciate all of our guests yesterday. One that comes to mind, Ken McVeigh, voice of the Commodores. That was a lot of fun. Learned a lot in that segment as well. Didn't really know how the schedule worked like that for conference play in the Panhandle Conference and the way that they go through their rounds with each other. So we'll talk with Rusty Cook, and the focus on that segment is going to be high school basketball, but we will ask him a couple of questions pertaining to the Gulf Coast Commodores. 5 o'clock, we're going to lead it off with Sam Peebles, host and creator of the Braves Dugout podcast. At 5:20, I'm going to let AG and Caveman Rick are going to take over. Well, they'll be taking over when talking with Sam, but they'll just leaving it up to whatever you guys want to talk about there at 5:20. Possibly getting a call in from Alan Sandage, who's going to be live from the Senior Bowl. Man, it is heating up over there, and we do have your opportunity for 2 tickets. It's going to be your last opportunity to win 2 tickets here on the Afternoon Underdogs, being that we have to have you guys come pick them up tomorrow before 5. I'll give you till 6, but just put in your phone or whatever that you've got until 5 tomorrow to come pick up your Senior Bowl tickets. If not, we are going to give them away. I'm telling you right now, if you do not have your tickets picked up by the time I leave this building tomorrow, we are going to give those away to the text winners. That's it. We told you guys whenever we started putting this on that you've got until Thursday to pick them up. So if you want to go to the Senior Bowl and you've already won tickets, then you need to come pick those up before tomorrow at 5. Otherwise, we'll be giving them to the text winners, and we will figure that out, because at that sense, then you're going to have to come pick them up Friday, and it's going to be one of those things where I'll give you till Friday at 12, and then I'll walk around the streets and be like, hey, ever been to the Senior Bowl? Right. Or ESPN Northwest Florida sitting there you go. We got Mardi Gras right around here this weekend as well. That should be a fun time. Y'all be safe out there. Definitely be safe. Enjoy the parade and all of that good stuff as well. But so let's go ahead and open that up. Let's take the 5th caller, Caveman Rick. Caller number 5, 850-215-6290. 2 tickets to the Senior Bowl, Hancock Whitney Stadium there in Mobile, Alabama. They've got Mardi Gras going on as well. They're going to be counting crows at the end of, or later on in the evening. Counting Crows is going to be playing there. So y'all should have a phenomenal time there. And I mean, what better way than watching college football and watching all of these guys who a majority of them are going to be playing at the next level, and you can say that you saw them playing in a all-star type game, man. It's really cool. I had a blast last year. You ever been to the Senior Bowl?
I have not, but I mean, I've watched it a number of times, and really it's an audition, right? I mean, you're obviously not looking at a lot of first round, second round, even third round picks. You're looking at guys that are looking to make rosters, whether it's from an undrafted free agent, a non-roster invitee in terms of, getting them to OTAs. And then you got some later round picks that are going in there as well. But it doesn't mean that they're not talented. It's just they're looking for that one place to showcase what they have, one last time before the combine, or maybe it's just to help them get invited to the combine. So, and they're laying it out a lot on the line. I mean, there's a lot of offense. It's a lot of fun to watch. It's really, really explosive. It's not as hard hitting as it once was, kind of how we've now veered away from the Pro Bowl and it's more flag football. This isn't flag football. It's not more
flag football. It is
right, but I'm saying this isn't like flag football.
Not
this
at all.
Is, it's a really, really fun time, and anybody that gets these tickets, make sure you do go and enjoy it. And what's better than free?
What is better than free? And if you end up waking up Saturday morning or Friday, you realize, well, something came up, give them to somebody. They were given to you, give them to someone else, let's, represent not ESPN Northwest Florida, even though that would be great. Shoot, I'll give you one of our t-shirts to wear up there if you'd like one. But, represent Panama City. Go up there and have a good time and a great time with your family as well. All right, in our local stuff, 540, we've got Alan Watson on. I don't know if I mentioned that or not, but 540, Alan Watson will join us. He is the owner of Golf Plus. So a lot of great guests on this afternoon. If you have any questions or any topics that you'd like us to talk about, you can text those in right now, 850-215-6290. Looking for caller number 5. We're going to send you to the Senior Bowl. Also call that same number, 850-215-6290. In our local sports tonight, Gulf Coast is hosting Pensacola State. The women start at 5:30. The number 1 team in the land, the Gulf Coast Lady Commodores. Oh boy, man, they put a whooping on Northwest Florida State this last Saturday. Pensacola State coming to the house tonight. That tips at 5:30. Surely wish I could be there. Men's tonight at 7:30. Should be a great time. And boys soccer, Arnold is 17-0-1. They're hosting Booker T. Washington tonight, who is 11-1. That game starts at 7 p.m. Bay High, 11-4-2. They're hosting West Florida, who is 9-4-2, and that game will start at 7:30 p.m. And girls soccer, North Bay Haven, who is 16-4, on the road tonight, taking on Pensacola Catholic, who is 12-5-1, and that game will start at 5 p.m. Then the North Bay Haven soccer team, the boys soccer team last night, took on Rutherford and got a 3-goal win, 5-2, and they will be advancing to the Class 3A District 1 final. The Buccaneers go 15-3-1 on the season. They will take on Walton in the district final. That'll be tomorrow, which is January 32nd. It's February 1st.
So we've got February 29th at the back end of February. Now we're just going to add we need to even it out. We're going to add another day to the end of January.
We need a month with 32, right?
Right, there we go.
Come
we're
on.
Like the government printing money out that we don't have, man. We're just adding days to the calendar.
Woo! The Rams finished their season at 5-8-2, and that is the best. I mean, shout out to Coach Olds and the Rams and all of. I was reading one of his posts. He does a lot of officiating around here. When he took the job, when he said, "Yeah, I'll coach these guys," not knowing a ton about soccer, got some help along the way as well, which I find that to be so inspiring.
It's
right?
like Ted Lasso, right?
It is like Ted Lasso. It is because, obviously, for those of you who know about Coach Olds, he knows a lot about sports, but there's some, if he didn't grow up playing soccer and stuff, he's watched some soccer, and then to take that challenge on, to lead the young men, and to get to this point in the season where I think they've got 4, it was one of the best seasons they've had in a while, and then also you got to give some love to the officials who had to step up and fill in for Coach Olds when he couldn't officiate certain games. I think he said he had to give up 85 or give
He is
back.
a busy dude.
I don't know how he does it.
I know.
Man. I seen him at
Well, he's special. He's got like 26, 27 hours in it. I'm totally just kidding.
I know, like adding the hours to the day, like you're
adding months over here.
But like, yeah, I mean, I seen him last week at Winn-Dixie, I think, in the parking lot. And that guy, like, man, whatever he's on or whatever, he just needs to bottle it. That guy just goes like all the time.
100.
From the coaching, the stuff at the school, like you were talking about, to like the fact that he's got a huge family and kids that he adopted.
Shipwreck every summer.
Yeah, I mean, the dude's he's amazing, man. Whatever, like I said, man, bottle it up because you could sell it.
I cannot wait for that documentary on Coach Olds one day, man. If that doesn't get done, maybe I just need to go find a producer somewhere who, or like find someone who wants to make a documentary and doesn't have an idea of what it is they want to do.
Yeah.
Boom, I got the perfect candidate.
ESPN Northwest Florida, 30 for 30.
There you go. But we'll do like
we'll do 26 for 26 for 26 hours in a day.
There you go. 26, 32. 26 hours in a day, 32 days in a month, man. We will slow down time. You just got to listen to the Afternoon Underdogs. Oh, man, that is some good stuff. Rutherford boys basketball team last night taking down Mosley to split that season series. The score was 52-46. Rutherford was at the house last night. Rams move on to go 14-8, and they're going to be hosting North Bay Haven. That'll be tomorrow evening. And the Dolphins fall to 15-8. They're going to be visiting Choctaw. That'll be Friday, February 2nd. And also in boys basketball, Bay takes down North Bay Haven last night, 69-55. Now, I believe Rutherford last night was it was either Rutherford or Bay. Maybe it was Bay. Was senior night last night because Rams are going to be hosting North Bay Haven. That'll be tomorrow. So Bay had senior night last night, getting the job done, 69-55. And in girls high school basketball, Bozeman beat Crossroads 48-20. Arnold takes down Port St. Joe 46-19. Chipley over Bay 57-33, and Niceville beats Mosley 66-28. I know that Arnold and Port St. Joe, at least according to Max Preps, played in boys basketball last night as well, but it was missing the score. So I did some reaching out, didn't get a response. So if anyone knows the Arnold Port St. Joe score of last night, if you're listening on 101.9, that would be a great opportunity to chime in with us. Let me know what the score for the Tiger Sharks and Arnold was last night. Yeah, thank you so much for that. We're streaming live on Facebook, YouTube, and Twitter. You can like and share the Facebook feed and page. Follow us over there on Twitter. Subscribe to our YouTube channel, and you can download the app and register all at 104.3 ESPN Northwest Florida. Got to give a big happy birthday shout out to none other than Jack Patterson. Got Wrestling Against Cancer coming up on the horizon. If you would like to work with Jack Patterson, become a sponsor for that show and help, all of these proceeds go to a young man who is battling cancer right now. If you'd like to be a part of that, if you would like to help out, then reach out to Jack Patterson on Facebook. And again, happy birthday to Jack Patterson. Also, happy birthday to none other than the late, the great, the one of the reasons why baseball is as good as what it is today, and Jackie Robinson, breaking the color barrier in baseball. So happy birthday to Jackie Robinson. How about this story? I'm sure that you guys have heard about it, but fire crews found some burned remnants Tuesday of a bronze statue of Jackie Robinson that was stolen last week over there in Kansas at a public park. They cut it down from the ankles. So like they right there at the ankles, they cut it down there. Wichita Fire Department received a call around 8:40 in the morning about a trash can on fire at Garvey Park in the southern part of the city, and they figured out that was pieces of the statue, according to the police spokesperson, Andrew Ford. And they said that obviously those pieces that were on fire are not salvageable. They are going to rebuild that statue. But here's the other thing is, I guess, where this is a big deal, at least in my opinion, because you have two ways of looking at it. Now, it could be someone, and I don't know if I think this way. It could be someone who's looking to go get some copper money or, some bronze money, it being bronze. Maybe that. But it could also be on the side of hate. And if it's on the side of hate, let me just be real with you. That don't surprise me, man. that don't surprise me, and it is heightening. It is heightening. As much as people want to sit here and say that it's not, it is. I see it all the time. So
it's wild to me, number one, because in this day and age, you have somebody that is a legend of the game, that the entire game has dedicated an entire day.
They all wear his number.
They all wear his number on the back, and no one else. Once they decreed that number is retired throughout baseball, there was only one player that could wear that number until he retired, which was Mariano Rivera, right? So then once he retires, nobody else is able to wear that number. They only wear it one day each year to honor him. And to tear down that man's statue like they did, now granted, I think they've already gathered, I think, $100,000.
Yeah, they got swift on the fundraiser. Yeah,
but if I'm not mistaken, the original artist of that statue is no longer with us. So now you're going to have to go a different route. So it's not going to be the same thing. And to do something like that in this day and age is absolutely atrocious. It's horrendous. And for somebody that, arguably, I wasn't in that time, obviously, but he was arguably a polarizing figure, right? He was doing something that, by his own admission, he wasn't comfortable doing starting out. But then once he got into it and he realized that the changes that he was helping bring about, not just in baseball, but in this country, he started championing that, and then it grew, right? And what happened to the game of baseball? It got better.
Yeah,
it grew. It got better. More people watching it, more eyes on it, more people listening on the radio, and he helped the game of baseball the way Tiger Woods did the game of golf.
There you go. That's a great
and I'm not comparing Tiger to Jackie, not in the slightest.
No.
But in terms of what they were able to do for their respective games, I mean, it can't be measured.
I'd say it's sad and pretty cowardly, doing something like that. This day and age we live in, where everybody's hiding behind a screen and, isn't face-to-face with whoever they're doing something to. I think it's what's lending to people doing these things, being more brash. Because we all know if people, said the things that they say, on Twitter and, on other, forms of social media or just even texting, they wouldn't say it to somebody's face.
Oh, yeah.
So I think that lends to what's going on here, and just, hopefully they catch the person.
Yeah. So like you mentioned, the artist who created the sculpture, John Parsons, he passed away last year, or 2 years ago. I'm bad with the days today. 2022. But the mold from his work is still viable.
Nice.
And so we'll see.
Just report it.
Yeah, there you go.
Put it back in the same place.
And some cameras around it. I'm sure there was cameras around it already. And then you have
electrify that sucker. So when you go up there and touch it, man.
Yeah, there you go. You have the flip side on this too, or rather a third side, right? It could have been kids who were trying to do things to get a rise out of some of their buddies or something. Does that mean I'm not? None of these things. Am I saying?
The Simpsons proving it life again. There was an episode where Bart cut the head off of the statue of Jebediah Springfield, and during the episode, people were in mob looking for the whoever done it, and then the head ends up talking to Bart, and he learns a lesson from it, yada yada yada. But here it is, the Simpsons again, having a story, and we're seeing similar stuff in real life, many years later.
Oh, man. Baltimore Ravens sending they're not sending him. Ben McDonald's is leaving the Baltimore Ravens and going to be taking over the Seahawks job. Is that a good fit for the Seahawks? I mean, defensive guy, we've seen a good number or a good amount of defensive guys get hired. What's your thoughts on this, AG?
I think it is. I mean, you saw what he was able to do not only with Baltimore, but with Michigan as well. I mean, Harbaugh took him from his brother at Michigan, if I'm not mistaken. Even though he was in Baltimore 3 years ago, he then went to Michigan with Jim. Now he's back with John, and now he's going to Seattle. He's a young coach. I think he's 36 years old. So he's going to garner some attention, I think, from his players in terms of, his energy level and his experience at both college and the professional level. But anytime we see a defensive head coach, what do we need to see from the rest of his team? We need to see a star quarterback.
Yeah.
That's my only question. Right now, it's Geno Smith up there. Is he a star? No. Is he serviceable? Absolutely.
We'll find out more about that. Well, I guess I won't be able to, but you guys can talk a little bit more about Ben McDonald later on in the show. We're going to transition over to a little NBA basketball talking with Steve Alexander. Doc A, we're going to be right back. Keep it locked into ESPN Northwest Florida. Still got 2 senior tickets on the line. Call 850-215-6290.
ESPN Northwest Florida. It's the Coach James Hale Show.
Legendary. Great coach, better person, great father, love him to death. Star of Inside Drive. Ryan Mulvey, we got him on the phone right here live.
But I solely, firmly believe that without the unbelievable support of all the wonderful people in Bay County and beyond, this wouldn't have went the way it went.
Weekday mornings 7 to 9. ESPN Northwest Florida.
Good afternoon. This is Joanna on ESPN Northwest Florida with Wednesday's weather forecast. Sunny the remainder of the day with temps near 63 and a wind 10 to 15 miles per hour. Clear skies tonight, a light wind out of the north and a temperature of 41. Slightly colder tomorrow, around 59 with some sun and a wind at 7 miles per hour coming out of the east. Quite warm with a high around 63 and partly sunny Friday with a light breeze. This forecast is brought to you by Ellis Agency Insurance. Thank you for tuning into ESPN Northwest Florida. Rely on it.
Hey folks, Chris Kramer with Bill Kramer GM. And the best place to listen to the Inside Drive with Ryan Mulvey is inside a brand new vehicle from Bill Kramer GM. And I want you to know we've got 10 times the amount of inventory on the ground as we did this time last year, and darn near all of them are discounted. So shop us online at BillKramerGM.com or visit us the corner of Frankfurt and 23rd. We'll make it easy and take great care of you.
Everyone makes New Year's resolutions. However, most folks seldom fulfill those resolutions. This new year, one of your number one resolutions should be a visit to that boot store. And be sure you follow through or you'll miss out on the tremendous savings on one of the largest selections of Western wear and work clothes in the area. That boot store open Tuesday through Thursday, 9 till 5. Friday and Saturday, 9 till 5:30. That boot store next to Bill Bird Kia, 15th Street in Panama City. Remember, God is good all the time.
They're number one in the men's room.
I hope this place comes with toilet paper.
The Afternoon Underdogs.
Oh, geez, this is going to be a photo finish.
On ESPN Northwest Florida.
And we are back. You guys are riding with the Afternoon Underdogs. This is ESPN Northwest Florida, 104.3 right here in Panama City and 101.9 in Port St. Joe. Streaming live on Facebook, on YouTube, and on Twitter, all at ESPN Northwest Florida. I'm David Hayes along with AG, that's Adam Goff and Caveman Rick. Now we are joined on the line by Steve Alexander. Doc A, he is a NBA writer for ESPN. What's going on, Doc?
Hey, how you guys doing?
Hey, we're doing just fine down here in Panama City. How are you doing?
I am doing well.
All right. Well, let's start with Adam Silver here and the extension. Is this a good thing for the game that he's been extended?
I think so. I think he's done a good job. I mean, I feel like the NBA is as big as it's ever been. You know, overseas audience is huge. It's truly an international game, not on the level of soccer, but it's approaching it, whereas I feel like the NFL is such an American sport. It's hard to market that overseas, even though they're trying really hard by putting Travis Kelce and his shirtless brother in our face 24 hours a day. You know, that there's a lot of fans of NBA players, you know, in the Philippines and Finland and Norway, Sweden, everywhere. And, you know, the NBA, you can see players' faces. I think they're easy to relate to. And it's not what it was in the 80s for us old guys, but it's pretty fun. You know, when you got Chet Holmgren going against Victor Wembanyama, good times.
Yeah, I'm right there with you, man. I was a guy that's probably been complaining for the last 2 years, and I sit there and I say lack of defense and all that stuff. And then I sit there and when I watched him, I'm like, how can you play defense on this? You got Ant Edwards lobbing up passes to himself from the free throw line, essentially off the board, and how do you guard that? I mean, some of the fadeaways, it's just that the offense has gotten so good now. Also, the lack of hand checking and all of that, but I really like the emergence that the cyclical fashion of the bigs who are coming in and are even more talented when it comes to the full game of basketball, right? Meaning, what I mean by that is following the footsteps of, let's shoot the three, which I think waters it down some, but at the end of the day, the percentages, right? Why are we seeing more teams go for two in football and be more aggressive on fourth down? Because it's more advantageous to gaining points. Well, same way in the NBA. If you're going to get 3 points by shooting it, from the perimeter, then why not shoot from the perimeter?
Well, Steph Curry, I mean, there's no doubt that he's watered down the game. Like, I don't love watching an NBA basketball game where all they do is shoot three-pointers. Mm-hmm. But I also, if you talk to a 55-year-old white guy, he's going to be like, I don't like the NBA because they don't play defense, and I miss Michael Jordan and Larry Bird and Magic Johnson. But when these guys are 30 years old and playing 82 games, running up and down that court like they are, like, you can't play your best defense every single time down the court, or you're going to be gassed, by game 30. In the college, they only play 20-something games. So I get it, but, when NBA playoff basketball rolls around, those guys play defense. I mean, it's a myth that they don't play defense in the NBA. Now, I was at the Luka Doncic game when he scored 73 against the Hawks.
Oh, nice.
They did not play defense against Luka until the fourth quarter when Quinn Snyder was like, you're not doing this in my house. And they double-teamed him. They were picking him up at half court and trying to shut him down, and it didn't really work. I mean, had they stuck with the game plan, he would have had 80. But, I get it. I mean, you can't go out there and go balls to the wall 24/7 for 82 games. You just can't. I mean, you grown men can't do it. I'm old. I can't do it, and I don't think a lot of these guys can either. But I don't know. I think the game is in better hands than it's been in a while. There's so many stars.
Well, what did you think of Jason Kidd coming out and saying that Luka's in the conversation with the rest of the GOATs and that he was better than Dirk Nowitzki? What do you think of that?
Well, I mean, you guys probably don't know my history, but I'm the most angry Hawks fan of all time because we drafted Luka and traded him 30 seconds later for Trae Young, which is going to go down as one of the worst trades ever because Luka is a GOAT. He is one of the best players of all time. He's one of the smartest players of all time. The numbers he's put up over the last 10 days are absolutely ridiculous, and they're on a level of what Wilt Chamberlain and Oscar Robertson and Michael Jordan ever did. And, I love Luka, and he's slow, and he's kind of pudgy, but nobody can stop him. And he does whatever he wants. He finds the open guy, and he shoots those fadeaway step-back threes, and you can't guard it.
Yeah, Steve, AG here. I appreciate you coming on with us. I think the Luka Trae Young trade is still behind Charlotte giving up Kobe Bryant, but it's still a bad trade.
What about the Pacers with Kawhi?
Kobe and Charlotte and sending Kobe to the Lakers of all places was horrendous.
Well, Kawhi only played like 17 games the next 5 years.
That's true.
So, I mean, I guess that one kind of worked out. But that's the other thing I like about the NBA right now is I feel like the mentality has shifted from, Kawhi with Greg Popovich and the Spurs. Like, let's see how many games I can actually sit out and not play to, you know what, I'm going to go out and try to play every day. Kawhi's playing every day. Anthony Davis is playing as much as he can. LeBron's playing as much as he can. Kyrie is still Kyrie. He's got the thumb, he's got the leg, whatever. But I feel like the mentality has shifted and guys are trying to at least play every night as opposed to finding excuses to not play.
Hey, Ben Simmons is even playing again. I saw he was playing the other night.
Oh, not so fast. Not so fast, my friend, as Lee Corso would say.
What happened?
He is out tonight with a sore knee.
Oh, there you go. He played a game or two, and then then he got a sore knee from playing a game.
One game.
Wow.
One game. Already not playing tonight. Ben Simmons, I don't want to say anything I'll regret, but I could not care less that he played really well for one game. I'm not moving. I'm not running out to my waiver wire in my fantasy basketball league and picking him up. I'm not putting him on my FanDuel team. He had a great game. It was one game. Zion Williamson had a great game, his first NBA game, and then he's been pretty much a mess ever since. I mean, I don't know how you're that big and you score that many points and you can only get 3 rebounds a game. Doesn't make sense.
I guess we'll see Ben Simmons on a fishing boat this weekend.
You might see him on a milk carton.
Hey, Steve, what do you make of all of these recent offensive outbursts lately, with Luka with his 70, Embiid with his 60? I think there was another one in there as well. Booker with his 60. What do you make of all this? Is this a trend we're going to keep seeing, or is this just, these guys are getting hot in certain nights, or is this a league thing?
Well, the rules are set up to benefit the offensive player. And we saw the 73 from Luka, the 70 from Embiid. Devin Booker had a week where he scored, he probably averaged 45 points a game. Karl Anthony Towns had, I think, 62. We're going to see an 80-point game this year. I think so. And Luka could have done it against the Hawks had they not decided to finally try to stop him late in that game. I think we're going to see somebody bust loose for 80. And I think it's just the way it is. These guys are so talented when they're hot and the basket looks big to them. They're impossible to stop. The rules are set up so differently than they were in the 80s. You can't hand check. You can't get up in a guy's face. So it's just set up for guys to score. And there's so many talented scorers that, when these kids were 6 and 7 and 8 years old, they had a coach, they had a instructor, they had this, they had that, and they've worked on their game for their entire lives. Whereas, when Magic Johnson came up, he was just naturally gifted. Larry Bird was naturally gifted. They didn't have private coaches in 7th grade. So, I mean, we're just seeing elite offensive players doing their thing. The rules are set up against the defense, and we're going to see somebody's going to score 80 or 90 points before this season's over, I think.
Oh, if so, do you think someone could get to 100? And if so, who would that one player, who has the highest probability to put 100 up?
I don't know. It could be Joel Embiid. It could be Luka. It could be Anthony Edwards. I mean, Anthony Edwards is a baller. I mean, Devin Booker scored 70 before.
Yeah.
Someone is going to do it. But the other part of that is these guys have teammates, and they don't want to like shun their teammates and take every shot because nobody enjoys playing with that guy.
Right.
But what we need is a
His
good
name is James Harden.
We need a James Harden in his prime right now to just go out there and shoot it 50 times and see what happens.
I like that. You brought up Edwards there. He just got fined, $40,000. Said he's going to take the fine because the refs did not give us no calls tonight. We had to play through every bump, every grab. I don't know how we won tonight. He was answering that in the post-game presser or the post-game interview there. So Edwards dealing with the officiating. We've been hearing about it all along, and then all year long, maybe 2-3 years now. And then you had Max Strus picking up the technical last night with I guess we're calling it a sass pass. Didn't really feel that way to me. What do you think is going on with the officials in the NBA right now?
Well, nobody likes Scott Foster.
Yeah.
Chris Paul especially.
For sure.
The officials are getting paid so much money. I don't know. Anthony Edwards is like, we're playing 9-on-5, man. It's not fair. And then that rant that the Raptors coach went on last week was one of the coolest things I've ever seen. He's like, why are we even playing the game? You know, my guy's a superstar. This is ridiculous. Why are we even doing this? And, you know, coaches are going to be mad at the refs in every sport for the rest of time. It doesn't matter. It just is what it is. I don't know. I don't know how one team shoots 35 free throws and the other one shoots 3. It doesn't make sense.
Like the Lakers, they're like close to 28th in the league as far as driving to the hoop, and they've got more free throws than anyone in the league. Is that
his name is LeBron James?
Yeah, I mean,
he's 39 years old now, right? And he's going to flop and flail and try to draw as many calls as he possibly can, and he's going to shoot probably a majority of the free throws.
And that's the problem. Like, the referees are rewarding LeBron James.
Mm-hmm.
Like, if it's a borderline call, he gets it. Scotty Barnes of Toronto, if it's a borderline call, he doesn't get it because he hasn't earned that. You know, his name doesn't have that it factor yet. But like the coach said, I mean, he's a franchise player. He's going to be a superstar. But the guys who have the big name get the calls, and it just is what it is. I'm not really into the whole Vegas controls everything and Vegas knows the outcome of these games before they happen, but Vegas knows what they're doing and Vegas knows who's going to get the calls and who's not.
Yeah, I love that. That is the way that it should be looked at. I mean, I don't mind seeing all of the conspiracy theories and stuff like that. It's fun, but I mean, it kind of takes away from the game to an extent. And I think, give credit to Vegas for knowing what it is but not controlling it. But if that ever comes out, then I'll be finding a new profession. And maybe that'll be becoming an NBA referee with an average annual earning of $500,000. Well, I guess the average is $375,000, which is wild. What about Wemby, though? We've only got about 2 minutes here. Really appreciate your time. This is Steve Alexander. He's an NBA writer for ESPN. And you're in the Fantasy Hall of Fame, if I'm not mistaken, right?
Fantasy Hall of Fame, yes, sir. Thank you very much.
Absolutely. Steve Alexander, and you can always hear him on the Inside Drive. I believe he'll be back with us next Tuesday on the Inside Drive. Ryan Mulvey at 11:20s on Tuesdays. But real quick here, Wemby, is he living up to the hype in your opinion, or is he exceeding those expectations?
You know, that's a good question. The other night, he blocked Dylan Brooks' shot, but he didn't really block it. He sort of like ripped it out of his shooting hand. And the color guy was like, "Hey, was that a block or a steal?" And the other dude was like, "I think it was both." And that's sort of how I feel about Wemby living up to the hype or exceeding it. I mean, he's been amazing. Like, he absolutely is must-see TV if you like NBA basketball. He's a freak. He's so much taller than everybody else. You know, they show him standing up next to a 7-footer, and he's like 5 inches taller. And
his handles, to me, is what separates him.
His handles are ridiculous. His passing is ridiculous. His ability to jump up and catch a lob pass and know where he is and still be able to redirect it to the hole is incredible. He's blocking shots. The Spurs are actually letting him play. His minutes limit just got upped. He played in a back-to-back for the first time since November. And when I go home at night, I have the NBA League Pass. I watch Luka and I watch Wemby, and then I go to bed.
Hey, Steve, can we invent a new category for fantasy called stock? It's a steal and a block.
It's already invented. That's what we call it.
Now look at you. Look at me. Absolutely. Let's go.
Yeah. In fact, I'm not a big fan of the term because it's when you. I think we're talking about two different things. Because when a player gets steals and blocks, we call them stocks, and those are like fantasy gold because they're hard to come by.
Yeah.
But in Wemby's case, like when he's committing a steal and a block at the same time, that's a different kind of stock. That's like a capital letter stock.
Yeah, there you go. There you go, with italics and underlined and bolded out as well. Steve, we got to run to a break. Thank you so much for your time, and we look forward to chatting with you on the Inside Drive.
All right, thanks, guys. Have a good night.
Absolutely. You do the same and enjoy the games. That was Steve Alexander. He's an NBA writer for ESPN. He also writes for other publications as well, and a fantasy sports writer in the Hall of Fame. That is great stuff. Now it's time to talk a little high school basketball. Rusty Cook coming up next. You're riding with the Afternoon Underdogs. This is ESPN Northwest Florida. Quick timeout. We'll be right back.
It's the PCB Hobby Takeover with Todd. Mondays at 5:20 on ESPN Northwest Florida.
That is a very high-end card and very rare.
Todd talks about coins, trading cards, collectibles, and the amazing stories behind them.
It was the first one that's ever come through my door.
Plus, we'll be taking your calls and questions at 850-215-6290. The PCB Hobby Takeover.
A platform for you to do your hobby.
Mondays at 5:20 on the Sports Talk Monster. ESPN Northwest Florida.
Good afternoon. This is Joanna on ESPN Northwest Florida with Wednesday's weather forecast. Sunny the remainder of the day with temps near 63 and a wind 10 to 15 miles per hour. Clear skies tonight, a light wind out of the north and a temperature of 41. Slightly colder tomorrow, around 59 with some sun and a wind at 7 miles per hour coming out of the east. Quite warm with a high around 63 and partly sunny Friday with a light breeze. This forecast is brought to you by Ellis Agency Insurance. Thank you for tuning into ESPN Northwest Florida. Rely on it.
Are you tired of hearing 2 weeks when you call to get your boat worked on? Hey folks, it's Chris Kramer with Kramer Marine and Outdoor, and we'll get you in and back out on the water as quick as possible. We're a full-line Yamaha outboard dealer and Suzuki outboard dealer, and we have master-trained certified mechanics on site. So if it's just an annual service, electronics install, trolling motor install, or all the way up to a full repower, we can take care of you. So stop by and see us in the corner of Frankfurt and 23rd next to Bill Kramer GM, or call us at 850-851-0453.
Los Rancheros has been doing it right for 20 years. Los Rancheros brings a top-shelf dining experience to you with the opening of their beautiful new building. Watch all college and pro games on Los Rancheros' 14 large-screen TVs with great drink specials daily from 2 to 5 and during all the games. Los Rancheros, the place for live sports and great food on 23rd Street between Jenks and Harrison.
It's go time all the time. Sports talk around the clock.
Oh my gosh!
Now back to the Afternoon Underdogs. 104.3 ESPN Northwest Florida.
And we are back. This is the Afternoon Underdogs. You're tuned in to ESPN Northwest Florida. We're on 104.3 here in Panama City, 101.9 in Port St. Joe. I'm David Hazel, along with Adam Goff and Caveman Rick. And now we are joined by the assistant coach for the men's Commodores basketball team, Rusty Cook. Rusty, what is going on, my friend?
Hey, good afternoon, guys. How y'all doing?
Hey, we're doing well. Great to have you on. You know what, Coach? I want to start with the question that I actually had last for you. It's something that we talked about the other day, but why is it important that we get that gym built back over there on Martin Luther King?
That's a great question and a pretty deep one. So I'm going to, kind of stay with the basketball side of things because, just having that community center there has a huge community impact, well-being. It's about culture, a lot of things that impact. So it's a very important place, or important place outside of basketball. But on the basketball side of things, it's just about development. I am of the opinion that, kids don't play enough pickup basketball. And part of that is because there's nowhere to play. Training is great. Playing in rec leagues is great. But there has to be that time where you're just out there. We've all been there. We've all been out there, depending on how old you are. You were in your backyard. Either you were Michael Jordan or Kobe Bryant or Steph Curry or, just trying different things.
I was Reggie.
Also, there you go. Also, I learned the game from older players. Older guys. I was talented enough to, sit on the sideline until they would pick me up, and then they would, teach me and guide me certain things. So, being just together with the community and having that opportunity to play and just times to get reps in, and I believe it's hurting the quality of basketball. Now, don't get me wrong; these kids are talented. They're really talented. But think, how much better it would be if they were able to get that many more reps. So you can't say that it doesn't affect it, because it 100% does.
Well, and Rusty AG here, always happy to have you on with us. For me growing up, the pickup games were the place where I could take something that I've learned either watching or playing in games or in practice that I could do and take risk trying to learn how to, hone a certain skill or a move and take that risk. And if I turn it over, it doesn't work out, or I'm just not quite getting it, it's not hurting anything. I'm not hurting my team. It's hurting in that moment. Yeah. But at the end of the day, it doesn't mean anything. And so I think for these young kids that are out there that are picking up these certain things and moves and abilities, it's really dampening their ability to hone their craft and then take that to the hardwood when it does count and make a difference.
Yeah, basically what you're saying is you can go out in a pickup game and there's no consequence.
Yeah.
If I'm coaching you in a game and you try one of the moves, you're probably going to come sit by me. Yeah. it might not work out. You know what I mean? So yeah, no, you're exactly right. I agree with that.
All right, Coach, you had a very close game. Gulf Coast leading for most of the way last Saturday against Northwest Florida State, though. But give us a quick rundown of that game. Really, actually, let's just kind of focus on the end there. Jackson gets the rebound after shooting the three, gets one more opportunity. In a situation like that, and the clock is running down, I think there was less than 1.5 seconds right there. He did have someone kind of right behind him to the right. Do you like taking the shot right there, or especially with, I can only imagine the shot clock in your head at that point in time, or would you like to see another little quick pass to the guy right behind you and see if that gives him a better angle?
Well, that particular shot come off of a rebound.
Yeah.
So it's kind of you're in scramble.
Yeah.
You're in scramble mode anyway. So honestly, it was a tough shot, and there was somebody possible, but who knows if he makes that pass, maybe the defender closes out. He's a bigger guy, can shoot over people. So, a guard is going to have a clearer angle to be able to get that shot. I don't mind that, but, having the ball, we had the ball up to with 30 seconds to go. And you'd like to say that you got to try to find a way to win, but there's 5 other guys on the other side that are, trying to beat you. So, it's just unfortunate that we were really close. But I'm not a coach that says that's why we lost. There were.
Oh yeah, no doubt.
There were 100 other players. I believe they really beat us up on the offensive glass, which gives them extra possessions. So I think they had about 18 extra possessions than we have, and that's kind of how I look at the game. So that's 18 opportunities for you to score. So. That's I think that's where they got us as far as the numbers go.
Oh, yeah, and they were lethal with the press down the stretch as well, Northwest Florida State. But, hey, it was a great game and back-to-back entertaining weeks and then great games from the ladies as well. But tonight you guys hosting Pensacola State, 7:30. Why should people come to the gym tonight to check out the Gulf Coast Commodores?
First of all, I'll start with the ladies. Number 1 team in the country. If you haven't come out to watch them play, you're missing out. It's some of the best women's basketball you can see anywhere, even on TV. I'll say. I mean, that is a really, really good team. So they are definitely worthy for you guys to come out and check them out. I believe they're going to be contending for a national championship. So to be able to say that you've seen that is a special thing, in my opinion. The last 2 weeks for the men, we've played, top-ranked teams. But I'm going to tell you what, Pensacola and Tallahassee may not be ranked, but they've played just like we have. They've played Chipola and Northwest right down to the wire. So there is going to be a lot of talent in the gym tonight. And, our guys, we've lost a couple tough ones 2 Saturdays in a row, but if you know basketball, you can look and see that those guys are really talented. And they're young, so they're on the, they have an opportunity to make a name for themselves. And, you can just take it one game at a time. So I think tonight's going to be exciting.
Arnold Port St. Joe tonight. If Arnold wins, that's going to be 6 p.m. over there at Arnold. They will be district champions for the 8th time in a row. Coach, what are the playoffs looking like for high school basketball right now?
So I'll start with Bozeman. Bozeman, the district seeds have already come out for the district tournaments, and Bozeman is a 1 seed, and they'll get a bye. The way the district playoffs work, the district champions go to the state playoffs, and the rest of it is determined by ranking. So if Bozeman doesn't win the district, I think they still have a good chance to make the playoffs. Bay is a 3 seed. They play South Walton, who they're 0-2 against. I think if they don't win the district, they're probably not going to make the state playoffs. Rutherford is a 2 seed. They have a bye and will most likely play Gaston County in the second round. I think they have a good shot at winning this district. You know, the 1 seed is Godby. They beat Godby by 18 the other night. But I do believe they're kind of on the bubble if they don't win the district. I feel like they might need to win the district to make the state playoffs. Mosley's a 4 seed. I'm sorry, you can stop me if I'm just running.
No, you keep going, Coach. I'll stop you if we need to.
Mosley's a 4 seed. They play Childs. They are 1-0. They played Childs once, and they did beat Childs. And again, Mosley probably needs to win the district. They're in a tough district with Rickards and Gainesville. Buckholz. Buckholz is actually the number 1 seed. So they have a tough district. So I feel like Mosley needs to win their district also to make the playoffs. Arnold's a 6 seed. They're playing Pine Forest. They haven't played yet. Again, with Arnold's record being a 6 seed, that's the last seed in their district. They also need to win their district. North Bayhaven is a 6 seed. They're going to play Gadsden County. They haven't played them yet. They're going to need to win. So, you know, not everybody. I mean, Bozeman's sitting pretty, I believe. I think they're in a good spot. They win at least one of their district playoff games. They should be good for the state tournament. But I feel like everyone else pretty much needs to win their district in order to make it.
That is great stuff, Coach. Last question for you. As a coach, and I want to look at this from the high school angle here, but does your mindset change as a coach when you are eliminated from the playoffs? Like more so not changing your mindset, but do you get more playing time for the younger kids? Are you does anything change when there's an elimination from the playoffs from your philosophy or your standpoint?
I feel like as a coach, you have got to understand where your program is year to year. Yeah. And, of course, it helps if you've been there a few years. So understanding what your personnel is, and you can say, yes, you want to win every game, but you have an expectation of who you're going to be coming into the season. Hopefully you get better and, you know, go as far as you can. So last year, for me, when I was coaching high school, we needed to make the Final Four for me. You know what I mean? So I think that really depends on your team, you know, where you're at year to year. You say if I got a good freshman class, I know in 2 or 3 years, you know, I need to schedule a little tougher. That way we can play some better competition and be ready for the playoffs. If I'm in a down year, maybe I schedule not as tough. So I believe it kind of just depends on, you got to do a really good job of understanding where your program is. Because if you don't, you might schedule wrong and you might play a bunch of tough teams and not win many games and get put out of the playoffs and be a disappointment. Vice versa. You know, if you have a really strong team and you don't prepare them, you get put out early. It's a disappointment. So kind of just having understanding where you are as a program and then looking at where you end up.
Coach, we really appreciate the time and keeping us caught up on high school basketball around the area, and then also the thoughts and with your own Gulf Coast State Commodores there. Lots of fun at the gym last Saturday, and you guys get out there tonight, 5:30, pack it out for the women, then remain there at 7:30 for the men. Should be a great one. Let's get a sweep tonight, Coach. Y'all, good luck to y'all tonight.
Yes, sir. Thank you, guys. Appreciate you.
That is Coach Rusty Cook. He is the assistant coach for the men's Commodores. He was the former coach over there at Bay High. Lots of success over there. Then worked his way up over there to Gulf Coast with Coach Gaffney and Coach Taylor. They do a great job. Love watching those guys coach on the bench, man. Again, let me give you another reason to go to Gulf Coast. You're up close, personal to the action. Like you can sit there basically courtside. It's a beautiful arena, and they got good popcorn, man. Any place that's got good popcorn, I don't see why you're not going there. Let's see. You got about 2 minutes here. Let me tell you guys about the Bay High Sailing Team fundraiser. It's going to be Monday, March 4th from 5:30 to 9 p.m. for a throwback to Los Angeles at Paruche Ristorante. They're going to have some favorite menu items to be queso, ceviche, shrimp tacos, carne asada, tacos, and their famous margaritas, live entertainment, and raffle. It's going to be benefiting the Bay High Sailing Team, the Bay Youth Sailing Association, and that is awesome stuff. We had Sunchi and Jackson on the Suchin and Jackson with us not too long ago. So that was actually, I think, last week sometime. Really cool what they were able to do. They had to work on their own sailboat. I was going to call it a regatta, but that is not what that is. The regatta is the race. Learned a little bit there, man. That was a fun interview. I'm really proud of those guys for all the work that they did and what that team continues to do to put their sport on the map, as it were. What's the big news in the sporting world for you today, AG? Does it have to do with the Baltimore Orioles? Because you guys got Sam Peebles on the line coming up next.
Yeah, it's a big move, right? I mean, Orioles are for sale. It's a young and upcoming team, so I'm curious to see what Sam's take is going to be with a conglomerate, if you will, a capitalist group taking over, similar to what the Reds have, right? Mm-hmm. There's not one. There's a primary owner, but there's a conglomerate involved. Yeah. So, curious to see what's going to happen with the team that, by all stretch of the imagination, is arguably the favorite in the AL East coming up this season. So,
oh yeah, is that not wild? Baltimore the favorite in the AL East. That division just keeps getting tougher and tougher and tougher. You guys are riding with the Afternoon Underdogs. AG, Caveman Rick taking over. We got Sam Peebles, possibly Alan Sandage and Alan Watson coming up in this second hour. Hey, give them a call or text and let them know that you appreciate what they do. This is the Afternoon Underdogs. I'll see you guys tomorrow. Just remember, Jesus loves you, and so do I.
Start your morning with sports updates, interviews, reactions, lively discussions, insights, and expert analysis.
I think in our lifetime, we will never see another undefeated team.
Join Evan, Canty, and Michelle weekday mornings from 5 to 7.
It will never happen again.
On the Sports Talk Monster.
If anyone deserves the benefit of the doubt for one last chance, it's Bill Belichick.
ESPN Northwest Florida.
Good afternoon. This is Joanna on ESPN Northwest Florida with Wednesday's weather forecast. Sunny the remainder of the day with temps near 63 and a wind 10 to 15 miles per hour. Clear skies tonight, a light wind out of the north and a temperature of 41. Slightly colder tomorrow, around 59 with some sun and a wind at 7 miles per hour coming out of the east. Quite warm with a high around 63 and partly sunny Friday with a light breeze. This forecast is brought to you by Ellis Agency Insurance. Thank you for tuning into ESPN Northwest Florida. Rely on it.
Signworks, a business serving businesses since 1985. Everything from signs and banners, vehicles and boats, magnetic and real estate signs, contractor signs, and much more. Signworks can do large format, full color printing too. Signworks, a real professional in the business world. Call Signworks at 785-8899. Signworks, 850-785-8899.
Your home for Super Bowl 58. WGSX WPLQ Port St. Joe.
ESPN Northwest Florida.
Kitchen Designs in Panama City Beach and Santa Rosa Beach want to help you make your dream kitchen a reality in 2024. Family owned and operated for over 20 years. They offer cabinets, countertops, flooring, and tile. Their cash and carry program offers shaker white cabinets available the very next day. Call Kitchen Designs to make your dream come true. 850-775-4150.
Often imitated, never duplicated. The official sports station of the Panhandle. Now back to the Afternoon Underdogs. 104.3 ESPN Northwest Florida.
Welcome into hour number 2 here on ESPN Northwest Florida, 104.3 in Panama City, 101.9 in Port St. Joe. I'm AG along with Caveman Rick. Dave has left us to steer this ship the rest of the way in the second hour. He is off to coach some youths in some flag football, so good luck to him and Ryan Mulvey as well. Absolutely. Some youths, right?
2 youths.
The 2 what?
The 2 youths.
Right, exactly, my cousin Vinny. But on the phone with us right now is Mr. Sam Peebles, the host and the creator of the Braves Dugout podcast. Sam, how we doing, my friend?
You're not there?
Sam? Don't think we have Sam yet, but if you guys get a chance, make sure you follow Sam Peebles on Twitter. Also give him a follow on his Braves Dugout podcast. Very, very intuitive mind. And it's not just Braves that he covers. He covers the gamut of baseball. Very, very sharp mind. He's a very analytical mind. That's why we love him here at ESPN Northwest Florida. But baseball is getting ready to kick off. We talked about before the break the Baltimore Orioles being purchased by a capitalist group. It seems to be reported. We got Sam now?
Try him now.
Sam?
Yes.
Hey, there he is. Sam, the host and creator of the Braves Dugout podcast. How are we, my friend?
Great.
Good. Glad to hear it. So, right before you just came back on, I was talking about the Orioles potential sale to a group that I guess is now coming out where it's Cal Ripken and Grant Hill are a part of this as well. What's your thoughts on this?
I can't really hear you very well. I think volume might be down or something. I think you were talking about them selling the Orioles.
Yeah, so can you hear me now?
Yes.
All right, so the Orioles being sold to a capitalist conglomerate group, however you want to phrase it. Cal Ripken and Grant Hill are speculated to be a part of this group. What's your thoughts on this?
Well, I think hopefully Orioles fans will be happy. A lot of fans have been upset, I believe, that the Orioles have not been spending a lot of money. And it makes sense, they've made some bad financial decisions in the past with signing Chris Davis to long contracts that bombed. And on top of that, they were obviously going through a rebuild stage, right? And you don't really spend a lot of money when you're rebuilding. You're focusing on building up prospect capital. They've done so. They won the division. Now's the perfect time for them to be spending money, and now they just sold it to people that it looks like are willing to spend money. So I think the cards are lining up for the Orioles to be competitive for years to come.
Yeah, it's kind of odd that you see a team that is, arguably the favorite, one of the favorites in the American League to be sold this close to the start of the season. Spring training is only a couple weeks away. Do you foresee a group like this going out there and spending money on a Gunnar Henderson, Adley Rutschman, maybe even a Jackson Holiday? We've had a couple of prospects that haven't even touched a major league field yet, have already gotten multi-year deals. Do you see them? Can you hear me, Sam?
Yes, I can hear you now.
Do you see? Okay, so I was saying, do you think that they're actually going to go out and spend the money? Is it going to be more on the prospect side, or is it going to be more on the stars that they have in like an Adley Rutschman, Gunnar Henderson?
I don't foresee them going out like this next off season and just spending a load of money. I think it'll probably be a slow process. So if I was an Orioles fan, I wouldn't get my hopes up that they're going to be a top competitor in the free agent market, within the next 2 years or so. But their farm is so deep with top-end talent that the Orioles don't have to spend a lot of money to be competitive, and they can really save that cash influx waiting for that perfect fit of a free agent, whatever that may be, and then spend it on them. New ownership, it's hard to predict what's going to happen, but I do think if it's done right, we could start seeing, kind of what the Braves did, where they waited till they had that strong core before they started really raising their payroll.
Yeah. So, Sam, what do you make of the whole Jackson Churio, Colt Keith of the Detroit Tigers? Neither prospect has touched a blade of Major League grass, yet they're already signed to multi-million-dollar, multi-year deals. Is this a trend we can continue seeing, and is it good for the game? Sam, are you there?
Yeah, sorry. It's really quiet, so I can't really hear very well.
What I was asking is do you foresee baseball trending in the direction of what Jackson Churio and Colt Keith of the Tigers, Jackson Churio of the Brewers, Colt Keith of the Tigers, prospects that haven't played yet at their major league level, they're already getting multi-million-dollar, multi-year deals. Do you foresee that being a trend that continues, and is it good for the game?
I do foresee that being a trend. I won't say it's going to be like to the level of, where the Braves have done it. I think the Braves are really an anomaly, but, seeing teams like the Tigers, what they're starting to do, Tampa Bay, hit a dud with Wander Franco, but I do foresee that happening, and my reasoning is that the analytics departments and player development departments have gotten so advanced now that using their analytics and their skills, they're able to have not truly predict the future, but have a much better idea of what the future might hold than what they used to. And so giving these contracts that are team-friendly, but also, guaranteeing young men life-changing money, the odds of that happening are higher because it makes a lot more sense. The risk is not as high as it used to be. Mm-hmm. The reward is getting closer to outweighing the risk than it used to.
Nice. Well, I like the trend, especially as a Reds fan. I wish the Reds would follow suit and get some of our younger guys onto that train, but that's neither here nor there. MLB The Show 24 has just announced that their cover athlete is Vladdy Jr., winner of the Home Run Derby from last year's All-Star Game. What's your thoughts on Vladdy getting it over, say, I don't know, Ronald Acuna Jr.?
It's interesting because, he had that excellent season a few years ago. Offensively was, MVP-level talent. But last year, he had 26 home runs, but he was horrible defensively. He had one win above replacement. I mean, there was literally hundreds of players that had a better season than Vlad Jr. last year. I don't want to, trash him or anything like that. I do think it's interesting. I think MLB The Show kind of went with the marketable name rather than the actual output from last season, if you will. And I'm almost, I'm starting to see a trend with certain media outlets or games or whatever when it comes to advertising, that they're testing out, putting out controversial things just to see how many reactions they can get. Because, if you've seen how much reactions there's been on social media about picking Vlad Jr. to be the cover athlete, that MLB The Show is getting more, face value with potential buyers than it's had in years. And part of me wonders if that was on purpose. Now, I do want to say that, there's a lot of Braves fans that are upset that Ronald Acuna Jr. did not get the cover after having the fantastic season he did. However, there's this baseball game app called, I think it's called MLB Clutch Hitting or Clutch Baseball or something like that. Mm-hmm. And he's the cover athlete for that game. So from some reputable people that I know that have talked to me, have told me that in his contract, it's specifically with that company, specifically that if he's the cover athlete for this game, he can't be the cover athlete for other games. So there are certain athletes that are, have contracts with other companies or whatever that doesn't allow them to be the cover athlete for certain games or whatever.
Makes sense.
It is interesting that they went with Vlad Jr.
Yeah. Well, you're on the air right now at ESPN Northwest Florida 104.3 in Panama City. We're on the line with the host and the creator of the Braves Dugout podcast, Sam Peebles. AA says Dylan Cease from the Chicago White Sox was too expensive. What move could you see him making before pitchers and catchers report?
You know, that was really interesting, that whole exchange. I mean, that was really cool. Someone just happened to be standing behind that glass window. A fan, probably looked like he was maybe 16 years old, held up his phone that asked Alex Anthopoulos if he's going to trade for Dylan Cease, and Alex Anthopoulos was very straightforward and, you know, joking about it, saying, hey, man, we tried, and he was way too expensive. So that was, you know, pretty cool to see Alex Anthopoulos just be straight up honest and say that they tried and they're not, you know, as of right now, they can't afford him. As far as any moves that Alex Anthopoulos makes for the rest of the offseason, I would not be shocked if he's pretty much done. We might see some minor moves here, you know, like filling out the 40-man roster. We saw, you know, when they pulled in some extra minor outfielder depth, you know, and some infield depth they've brought in. That's really, the Braves are in a position where they were already on paper the best team last year. So on paper, there's not really a lot of moves that they had to make to move the needle. They're really more bringing in insurance in case something bad happens.
Yeah.
So they're bringing in depth in the minor leagues that possibly could work as a platoon or something in the outfield or the infield if the, you know, worst case scenario where someone gets injured and they have to come in and fill that hole offensively or whatever. So I don't really see any big moves that the Braves are going to be making anytime soon. They might, you know, injuries happen. They might make some moves at the trade deadline. But as of right now, I wouldn't be shocked if there were not any big moves left.
All right, Sam, so I think unfairly, Ohtani was labeled as the guy that's holding up free agency, and then Ohtani signs with the Dodgers on that, you know, weird deal where he's making $2 million a year. Then the next domino to fall was supposedly Yamamoto, who also went to the Dodgers. But here we are, we're just days away, essentially, from pitchers and catchers reporting to spring training. And there's still some big dominoes out there, and it seems like free agency has stalled. What do we attribute that to?
To be honest, I think it's because a lot of them are Scott Boras clients. This is typically what Scott Boras's mode of operation is that he waits out for as many big names to fall as possible that are not his own clients, and then waits for teams to get desperate and drives up the price. You know, because at the end of the day, it's truly supply versus demand, and that's what drives the cost. Now, it's not always a positive or good strategy. I mean, he's had clients in the past like Dallas Keuchel, who played, you know, that signed on that contract with the Braves that he had to wait till the trade deadline. And there's been other clients like that aren't like top tier clients that has not benefited, but the guys that are left on the market, that fits his mode of operation to really wait things out to the very last minute. So honestly, it's not that shocking because of the bigger names that are left are Boras clients. Once the Boras clients are gone, then you'll start seeing like rapid fire of players being signed, I think.
So Blake Snell, this past season's Cy Young Award winner in the National League. Rumors are he's asking for 9 years, $270 million. Is he worth that amount of money?
It's really, really hard to say. Blake Snell is an elite talent, obviously, but if you look at his underlying metrics, which, you know, that the underlying metrics does not take anything away from what he's accomplished. Blake Snell has accomplished a lot. He's been very deserving of Cy Young awards and Cy Young talk in the past, but his underlying metrics show that he's probably not going to stay at the same level as far as run prevention. His ERA, like his expected ERA, is a tad higher than his actual ERA and things like that. So it really shows that he may regress a little bit. Even if he regresses, he's still going to be an excellent pitcher. But, you know, if there's teams out there, they might not want to pay what he's asking if the underlying metrics are showing that what they're going to get might not be what they're actually paying for.
Yeah, and my thing is 9 years for a 31-year-old pitcher right now is asking a whole lot of any team to commit to that. I mean, if it's a position player that you can DH him, there's that option. But in terms of a pitcher, starting pitcher at that, that's asking a whole lot because not too many pitchers are as effective, where most of these contracts, when they're in the 9-year range, they're so backloaded to help these teams afford these talents in the prime of their career. But on the back end of it is where they pay the majority of it. And now you're going to be paying Blake Snell, $30 million for, a 39, 40-year-old pitcher that probably doesn't have the same stuff?
Maybe he goes deferred like Ohtani.
Right, but how many teams out there can actually afford to do that and just have that money sitting there and wait? So that's where the Dodgers separate themselves with me. But Sam, real quick, kind of funny, you shared a video from 2016 where a ball went through Josh Donaldson's glove, and you posed the question, hit or error? I say it's a hit because it wasn't necessarily Donaldson's fault. What do you say?
Yeah, that was really funny. I just happened to come across a reel on Facebook from 2016. I'm like, man, I got to look more into this. This is pretty rare. And, the official scoring, I went back and looked at the game. The official scoring was a hit. Mm-hmm. And if his glove had not malfunctioned, he would have caught it. So it's really interesting. But at the end of the day, it's up to you to make sure your tools are are ready to go, Like, if you're a construction worker and you go to work and, you can't work or, there's an accident that happens because your hammer breaks, well, you should have had a hammer that was, good to go. You shouldn't have used your hammer that's 25 years old.
Yeah.
So ultimately, it is your fault. So it is interesting that it is just an interesting topic because it's so rare. You don't really have those conversations. I think it was the right call to call it a hit because the ball was absolutely smoked. It wasn't like a dribbler or something like that. It was hit very hard. But it just was really interesting because, yes, it's not his fault, but it's his glove's fault, which he is responsible for. So I just thought it was pretty funny.
I'm with Sam. I think it's an error. I mean, EE. Error on the equipment. EE, call it like that, or something. But like he's saying, it's your responsibility to have the equipment, ready to go. And if you want to use a really old glove because of superstition, that's on you if something happens, right?
Yeah. Sam, we only got a couple minutes here. Let's get your take real quick. Give me a surprise sleeper team in both the National League and the American League for this upcoming season.
My sleeper team for the American League is probably the Tigers. They play in a week. It depends on what you mean by sleeper. I would not pick the Tigers to win the World Series.
No, but a team that you could see going into the playoffs, maybe, or the postseason, maybe making a run. Not the Diamondbacks kind of run going to the series, but a deep run.
Yeah, I would say American League side is definitely the Tigers. Mm-hmm. They've been creeping towards being competitive for years. I just have a feeling about them. Their young core is not elite by any means, but is getting to in the division that they play in with the team that they have. I do think that they have a legitimate shot to win their division this year. The other teams in the division, the White Sox are terrible. The Guardians and the Twins have not really made strides forward. In fact, the Twins have gone backwards. You could argue the Guardians have too. The Tigers are progressing while the other teams are regressing. I think the Tigers have a real shot to win their division. But if they don't win their division, I would not say that they have a chance at the wild card.
And NL?
National League, that one's tough. I'm going to go I just got a feeling about the Pirates. That's
mine too.
Core that they have, of young guys could be something special, and Brian Hayes and O'Neal Cruz, Mitch Keller is a solid pitcher. They're not going to win a World Series, but they could shock some people. I mean, they got to beat some people It's between the Pirates and the Reds. Both of those teams are emerging in that division. It would be really fun to see kind of the Pirates and the Reds battling out to win that division.
Yeah, I'm with you. I think O'Neal Cruz and Yover Peguero up the middle is their version of Ellie and Matt McClain. I really, really like what they've got going on with Henry Davis. A little saddened that the Pirates lost Indy Rodriguez, their young catcher, for the season, but I still think that they're probably ripe to make a good move. And they've got some good young, talented arms. But Sam, we're up against a break. We do appreciate you as always. Make sure you tune into the Braves Dugout podcast, where Sam is the host and the creator. When we get back, we will be talking some Reese's Senior Bowl.
ESPN Northwest Florida. We're taking the inside drive.
Just play the dang guitar. Uh-oh. We got it. We've got it happen. Recording.
Birdies and beer.
See, you're depriving us of this.
That's one thing Daddy likes, and that's birdies and beer.
Join Ryan Mulvey.
Thank you very little.
Middays 11 to 1 on ESPN Northwest Florida.
This is Joanna with your latest forecast on ESPN Northwest Florida this Wednesday. For tonight, clear skies and a low of 41 with a light wind out of the north-northeast around 5 miles per hour. Tomorrow morning, mostly sunshine with temps around 57. In the afternoon and evening, partly cloudy with a light breeze and a temperature near 59. Moving into Friday, about the same with a high of 63 and some sun. This forecast is sponsored by Mid-South Lumber, the best little lumberyard in Panama City. Thank you for tuning into ESPN Northwest Florida. Rely on it.
Discover Kia at Bill Bird Kia. Let your New Year adventures begin in a new Kia Sorrento. Bill Bird Kia has a few new 2023 Kia Sorrentos left, and they will not last long. You get the savings and drive away today. Now offering 0.9% APR for up to 48 months on the purchase of a new 2023 Kia Sorrento. Bill Bird Kia is the home of the 20-year, 200,000-mile warranty. Stop by and see us at 2435 East 15th Street or anytime at BillBirdKia@PanamaCity.com. We'll treat you like family and give you the peace of mind you can trust.
Offer from Kia Finance America for the purchase of a new 2023 Kia Sorrento with $2,122 per month per $1,000 finance for 48 months. Quantities limited. No down payment required. Cannot be combined with other finance offers. The 20-year, 200,000-mile warranty is a Bill Bird Kia warranty. Must see dealer for complete details. Offer for well-qualified buyers. Must take delivery from dealer stock through 3/4/24.
He stuck his head in the microwave enchanted Hot Pocket. Hot Pocket! Caveman Rick is part of the Afternoon Underdogs.
Hope you're drunk or heading home to a trailer.
On ESPN Northwest Florida.
And we are back here in the doghouse. You are riding with the Afternoon Underdogs right here on ESPN Northwest Florida, 104.3 in Panama City, 101.9 in Port St. Joe. I'm AG, along with Caveman Rick on the ones and the twos. And on the line with us right now, we have Alan Sandage, who is calling in live from Mobile, Alabama, where the Reese's Senior Bowl is going to take place this Saturday, February 3rd. Make sure you tune in to ESPN Radio for all things Senior Bowl. Alan, how we doing today, buddy?
Doing great, man. How are you guys doing?
We're doing very well. So, gearing up for the big game on Saturday. What are we most looking forward to in this game?
So, the funny story, I will be completely honest with you guys. I don't stay for the game anymore because the last few games I've watched haven't been that great because it's really just an exhibition. We come for the practice. We come for the one-on-ones. We come for the access to the guys before the draft. I will say over the last 2 days of practice, the offensive line has been stout. Like, the trench battles have been great. It's unfortunate they're not doing full contact in the practices as far as, like, letting these big guys tackle the running backs and stuff. But the one-on-ones have just been immensely competitive amongst the big boys all week, and it's been obvious.
Has there been one person standing out to you in terms of whether it's interviews, whether it's practices, somebody that maybe is flying under the radar but they're making a name for themselves?
So, under the radar but making a name for themselves, I guess I would say Jackson Powers Johnson, the center from Oregon. I don't even know if I would really consider him under the radar just yet. I think the guy's name is Tooley from Oklahoma, a tackle. He's probably a little bit more under the radar than Jackson Powers Johnson. But JPJ, I'll just call him JPJ, so I'll have to say his name.
There we go.
But JPJ, I just did an interview with him. He has been the absolute standout. When I talk to the defensive lineman and I ask them, like, who's the one guy you've went against this week that's either been your biggest adversary or you've had the most trouble with, and even though a lot of them don't remember his name, they know it's the guy from Oregon. I've heard that quite often. And one of those guys, Michael Hall, has been a stud himself here from Ohio State at defensive line, and even he reluctantly admitted that JPJ has gotten the best of him all week.
Nice. So we've got Sam Hartman in this game, Bo Nix in this game. What can we honestly expect out of these two before they hit the combine as their next big stop?
So I would advise people to temper their expectations a little bit and understand that these guys don't have their usual receiving core. It's a lot to fit chemistry into like 3 days of practice, you know. So I would expect people to kind of look to them to just complete the simple throws. Take what the defense gives them. If they need to run. Don't force anything. And then just look at their accuracy. I will say that I have been very disappointed with Hartman and Bo Nix anticipation. When they're throwing to guys, they're not throwing guys open like I thought they could. There's a lot of times where guys have turned their head. Matter of fact, in one-on-ones today, Hartman threw an interception because he was literally a second too late letting the ball go. The guy was open, but the DB recovered because he held the ball too long.
Well, it's disappointing to hear, but I think Notre Dame fans are used to that, at least from this past season. Bo Nix, Michael Penix Jr., obviously they're trying to make their way into the next level. Which one of these two is having the better lead up into this game?
I would say it's 50-50. People were really down on Penix yesterday, and I didn't get to see it. I just read about it because we got here only for the second practice yesterday. But then today when I watched, it was clearly Penix was better, and Bo Nix, I can definitely confirm, did not have a great day. Which, again, some of that could be just that, you know, you're working with guys that you're not used to working with.
And how do the coaches respond to having all of these kids? That's got to be a tough job.
Yeah, I would recommend people, if you can, get out to one of these kind of events, because it gives you an idea of just how precise practices and things are run. I think the coaches have done an excellent job. There's been a lot of hands-on coaching to guys, just encouragement, not any yelling, not any, you know, kind of berating. It's all been uplifting, all been coaching, teaching moments. And one of the surprise people that's been out here coaching every chance he gets is Mike Tomlin, who isn't even on the staff. He's just out here, and he just loves football that much. So I've seen him talk to linemen, to receivers. Hell, I've even seen him talk to the kickers.
Wow, that's awesome. I'm a Bengals fan, but I love some Mike Tomlin. He's arguably one of my favorite coaches in the league. So to see him going down there and helping out all those the young footballers and trying to prepare them to get ready for their dream, I think that's amazing. So kudos to that guy right there, and I think that's what makes him who he is. I mean, the guy hasn't had a losing season since he's been the Steelers coach, which speaks volumes. So let's go through some running backs here. Is there a running back that's standing out to you at this point?
I think the young man from Troy, Vidal, I think is how he
Kimani Vidal?
Yeah, dude, he is a tank. Oh, my God. He's a walking muscle. It was my guy Doug Martin, we used to call muscle hamster, I think, and then Maurice Jones-Drew. He is built just like those guys, and I hope he does well. I hope he gets a chance. He looks all the part of a back that you can definitely depend on to move the pile. You know, a team like the Cowboys that needs a guy that can run inside the tackles, even though he's short, I think he'll be perfect for that. And then the running back from Missouri, Schrader, I think.
Schrader.
He was a walk-on. He's been tough, and obviously, I think the running back from Michigan is here. But everybody's been on Romeo Wilson so much. It's like nobody's talked to any other Michigan player but Romeo Wilson, really.
Gotcha. Well, what about wide receivers? Is there one or two that's maybe standing out to you that you think is probably going to help their draft stock?
Romeo Wilson, 100%. I hate to sound repetitive, but the guys, I can send you guys a clip of him in one-on-ones today. He made the defender bend the knee. Then he went to the sideline. It wasn't a great throw, and he reached out and caught it with one hand and kept both feet in. He's been getting held a lot and fighting through that stuff and still making catches. He's done everything great but block, and I don't think they really care to see that from a receiver.
Right. Well, Alan, where can we catch up with you through social media and whatnot?
So right now, I kind of post at ESPN Richmond, which is my station here in Richmond. But you can just follow at IB Network or at IBN. That is the group that I have on Facebook that I met Keith through, and that's where I'm posting most of the content just because they have a bigger following.
Mm-hmm.
And then you can always just reach out to me directly, either on social media, Alan Sandage on Facebook, at Actively Lazy on Twitter as well. I'm open to DMs as well. I'll talk football with anybody.
That's awesome. Well, enjoy the rest of your time there, and we do appreciate you giving us your time today. I know there's a lot going on over there in Mobile, but we appreciate you coming on to ESPN Northwest Florida with us, Alan.
No problem, man. You guys have a great day.
You do the same. So we had a lot of big names there that are coming up. Bo Nix, and Sam Hartman, Michael Penix. So make sure you guys are staying tuned to that. Also, we still have not received a call yet for those tickets today. So give Caveman Rick a call, 850-215-6290. Give him a call. Get yourself a chance to win 2 tickets to, not a chance, but you'll get yourself 2 tickets to go to Mobile for this Saturday's game. Should be a lot of fun. Counting Crows concert, I think, is Friday night. So get yourself a chance.
Yeah, no doubt. Show up. Just a reminder, it's Saturday. You have to get the tickets tomorrow afternoon, or otherwise, we're going to give them to the Texters. But if you can make it, give us a shout.
Yep, and I didn't get a chance to give my take on the NFL playoff game. So let's do that real quick before we move on and talk a little golf with Alan Watson. We'll start with the Niners-Lions. Everybody's going after Dan Campbell, right, for the 4th down attempts. But if you've watched the Lions at all, that's who they've been all season long. I understand it to that point, but I also think in the back of my mind, okay, well, this is the playoffs. You're on the road. I still think you take the points. Now,
but those points aren't guaranteed now. You can kick the ball. So, it's no for sure.
Yeah, and again, we're not having this conversation if Josh Reynolds just catches the ball twice, right? I mean, he had 2 really big drops. Laporta had a drop down there as well that really hurt some things. But we're also seeing a 49ers team that can get got, right? Which, if you're a Niners fan, like our beloved Ryan Mulvey, I think you have to be worried going into this Super Bowl.
They should have lost to Green Bay.
100%. And if they do not get the ship righted in the first half against Kansas City is going to dog walk them. Going back to the Kansas City-Baltimore game, obviously as a Lamar fan, I was very disappointed. I still don't understand the anger and the vitriol that gets spewed his way. I mean, the guy was responsible for 92% of their offense. They only ran the ball 6 times.
But he's still 1-3 in the playoffs. Right. People look at that. They're looking at this last game. What was his completion percentage? Like 53%, I believe. He did have the 1 pick. So, he's played better all season long. And in this game, like I was telling Dave yesterday, it's like they got amnesia. I mean, they're, punch you in the mouth, run the football first kind of a team. And it seemed like they were scared. Like they were playing not to lose.
Yeah, and it was super odd to see them not run the ball, number one, to not let Lamar get out in the open and do his thing as well, which credit to the Chiefs defense, right? They did what they were supposed to do. But at the same time, you have a generational type talent in Lamar, and you're not utilizing him to the best of his abilities. You're not running anything at all to where you can have a play action pass for him to try to give him some time either. So that was very frustrating.
Zay Flowers, I mean,
the fumble,
the moves, but again, it's rookie mistakes, though. You know, same thing in the Lions game. You had Jahmyr Gibbs, rookie, fumbles the football, causes a possession loss right there where they might have got some points too on that drive, and that could have helped them out, with the Lions possibly winning that game or keeping the lead.
I mean, I think that was the game-tying touchdown that ensued after that fumble, but think about the time that gets taken off the clock if they continue that drive.
Exactly,
too.
yeah, that's it.
So my only thing, and we can move on from the Lamar talk, if Lamar wins that game and they're going to the Super Bowl, here's been my take on the Lamar situation from the word jump, is if Lamar wins that game with Patrick Mahomes' stat line, it's still not enough. Right? Patrick Mahomes does it. He's dominant. He's Patrick Mahomes. Lamar does that, has one touchdown that he's responsible for, and only 17 points. They're going to say, yeah, he won, but they only put up 17 points in the process.
But he hasn't won, though, like Mahomes has won.
Obviously.
That's the reason why.
Obviously. But my point is no matter what he does, that goalpost just keeps getting moved.
It's the same as Brock Purdy. I mean, he can win the Super Bowl, next weekend.
Mm-hmm.
And people are still going to be like, well, it's the system. It's all the weapons that he has, blah, blah, blah. And he could be a phenomenal quarterback. Up until this past weekend, I was kind of having some questions. I think I still might have a little bit of question there just because, again, the system and the weapons. But he's turning out to be like you said, like a game manager or a guy that just, doesn't make the big mistakes.
I thought he played exceptionally well in the fourth quarter. The big runs that he went on, I mean, those are game-changing runs. I mean, not just moving the chains, but now you're putting the defense into a position where they have to account for you as well with your feet when it wasn't expected. Huge plays.
And he'll stand in the pocket. He's not afraid to take a shot.
100%. Super Bowl, obviously, is coming up in a couple weeks. We got the Pro Bowl coming up this weekend. Pro Bowl festivities, I should say, because there's no longer a Pro Bowl, if you will.
Right.
What do you make of this matchup? Is this a matchup that America wants to see, or is this a matchup that is just kind of run-of-the-mill?
I think this is kind of like the matchup maybe in a roundabout way corporate America might want to see in a lot of ways. You got the sweethearts, the favorites, and like the Chiefs that have been there. Of course, you got the Kelsey Mahomes, dynamic, and then of course this Taylor Swift added on this year. So I mean, it's just publicity and like gratuitous stuff, like just on top of more gratuitous stuff, and it's just like eye candy for like a lot of people, or it's polarizing where a lot of people are like, hey, get her off the TV. I don't want to see Mahomes and Kelsey on another commercial or whatever. But like it or hate it, they get eyeballs and they get talked about, And then with the 49ers, after, them missing out last year, and then pretty much being on a mission this year, it seems about, fitting that, they could be there. The only other teams, you would have thought that might have been there instead of them, or might have been like my Eagles, except for like the calamity they had the last couple months, Dallas potentially.
What do you make of Vic Fangio?
To be honest, I don't know yet. In Miami, what was the problem there? Did he just not get along with McDonald? I mean, the defense wasn't horrible. They were able to, put up 70 points and not hardly have any, points put up on them in that game. But the same is true that they're able to, get some points put up on them. But again, it's that Miami situation where you have that, warm, fair weather team that when it gets late in the year and they have to go and play in inclement weather, that it's, they just can't get it done. So is it, something to do just to their DNA, the way they're built, the way they're just, set up? I don't know. So hopefully there's nothing, like Fangio's not difficult to get along with, I guess is what I'm trying to get at. Hopefully he can come in, he can assess the defense, he can make the necessary changes, use the personnel that we have. Maybe, this draft, this offseason, we go out, get another piece or two for the defense, kind of replenish some pieces, kind of get a little bit younger in some areas, and then hopefully do something there, because we have to. I mean, Nick Sirianni's, rebolstering the OC and defensive, coordinator.
Are you shocked to see him back?
Who's that? Sirianni? No, he's only been there for a few years. It's like going on his fourth season. I wouldn't be surprised if they did pull the trigger. But I mean, like, again, who are you going to get that's better? I wouldn't have gone after Belichick. He's just looking for wins, and then after that, I think he's going to, take off. Outside of that, I wasn't a big fan on Vrabel maybe coming. A couple of other coaches that got hired. Ben Johnson staying. He might have been like a good OC. Or I don't know about a head coach. So in that sense, just, keep the guy that's got you there, make a couple changes. It's not every year that you lose your offensive coordinator and defensive coordinator. That's tough to come back from. We see teams, my Eagles, when we lost Frank Reich, we weren't the same the following year.
Right.
So, that's just one side of the ball. Now you lost both sides of the ball. So, frankly, I'm not surprised.
Right. Well, we're going to take a quick break, and when we get back, we'll be on the line with Alan Watson. He is the owner of Golf Plus here in PCB and in Dothan. You're riding with the Afternoon Underdogs right here on ESPN Northwest Florida 104.3.
ESPN Northwest Florida. The Afternoon Underdogs.
I got to go over to the Baltimore Ravens and Lamar Jackson. I think I can make the argument, I think we all could, that he's winner overall number one, right? Only one playoff win prior to this, and that was in the wild card round, so this is his first win in the divisional round. This year has been great by Todd Monken, the offensive coordinator, who has a Super
4 to 6 weekdays. 104.3 ESPN Northwest Florida.
This is Joanna with your latest forecast on ESPN Northwest Florida this Wednesday. For tonight, clear skies and a low of 41 with a light wind out of the north-northeast around 5 miles per hour. Tomorrow morning, mostly sunshine with temps around 57. In the afternoon and evening, partly cloudy with a light breeze and a temperature near 59. Moving into Friday, of the same with a high of 63 and some sun. This forecast is sponsored by Mid-South Lumber, the best little lumberyard in Panama City. Thank you for tuning into ESPN Northwest Florida. Rely on it.
Love is in the air at Tracy's Fine Jewelry, and do we have a sweetheart of a deal for you? All diamond heart jewelry is on sale for 25% off. All color gemstone jewelry is 60% off at Tracy's Fine Jewelry. We also have a large selection of gold, silver, and estate jewelry that is sure to melt her heart. Folks have trusted us for 50 years to make their Valentine sparkle. This year, make it sparkle even more with a sweetheart of a deal from Tracy's Fine Jewelry.
So you've heard the saying that if you love your job, you'll never have to work? Well, it's true.
I've worked for Brock Lawn and Pest Control for many years. The commitment to the needs of customers
and their commitment to each employee makes Brock a company I'm very proud to be a part of.
Brock's core values are also mine. Give people more than they expect and always honor your promises.
This isn't a job. It's a service to help people live a healthier lifestyle.
Brock Lawn and Pest Control. Our family protecting your family.
It moves fast. The High School Spotlight. Weekdays at 5:40.
Let's do it.
Sponsored by Barbaritos. ESPN Northwest Florida.
Welcome back in for the final segment of the day. You are tuned in to the Afternoon Underdogs right here on ESPN Northwest Florida, 104.3 in Panama City, 101.9 in Port St. Joe. I'm AG Adam Goff along with Caveman Rick, and on the line with us, the one, the only, Mr. Alan Watson, owner of Golf Plus. How we doing, Alan?
Good. Just enjoying this beautiful day we've been having in Bay County today. It's been really nice.
It's been a nice change of pace, hasn't it? That's for certain.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. It's nice. It's not a perfect golf weather, but it's close enough. We'll take it.
Absolutely. So, Alan, what's the biggest thing going on in the world of golf right now?
Right now, it's product launch time. So what happens is you basically have 2 product launch windows every year, one in the fall, but the bigger one is right now in the spring. So right now, the end of January, the first part of February, you have all these product launches where the companies are obviously trying to get people excited about the new stuff and dropping new drivers, some new irons, wedges, putters, man. I mean, it's like all kinds of stuff. And then, of course, over the next month or so after that, we'll have even more product launches with some new golf balls and other things. But right now, man, it's all about the driver, Cobra Dark Speed, TaylorMade QI10, AI Smoke Paradigm from Callaway, and then the new Ping G430 10K, which is kind of a continuation of their 430 line. So all that may sound like gibberish to non-golfers, but basically it's like I'm into Harleys. I ride motorcycles, and they just had a new product launch at Harley a couple of days ago, and, man, it gets all of us bikers excited, and it's the same way with golfers. It's like, even if you don't need something new, when something new comes out, you want to see it, you want to test it, you want to see if maybe it's something you want to put in your bag. So that's what we're doing right now, just putting people in all this new product.
Well, speaking of new products, what's the product that you're loving the most at Golf Plus right now?
Yeah, so I'm really excited about this new TaylorMade QI10 driver. We talked about the dark speed last week, but this week, the new TaylorMade, I did some testing with a customer earlier today, and for him, the TaylorMade was the better of all the new drivers. We tried them all, got him some extra yardage, probably about 12 yards. The ball speed was a lot faster than his current PXG driver. I mean, it was like 4 or 5 miles an hour faster, so that was pretty awesome. And so I'm leaving tomorrow to go to the Bahamas to play golf on a buddy's trip. And so I went ahead and grabbed one of those QI10s. I'm going to take it with me and try it out. I'm excited. So we'll see. But I think it's going to be an interesting year. But TaylorMade's got some great new product out, and I'm excited for that.
Well, Alan, you're going to be the belle of the ball down there in the Bahamas, huh?
Well, yeah, because the worst thing about bringing a new club out is everybody wants to hit it, and I don't like people touching my stuff. So
you can tell them to come on down to Golf Plus, and they can pick one up.
Yeah, buy your own. I mean,
Right.
there's some guy's going to get drunk and then swing it and go under the ball and leave a dummy mark on top of my brand new driver. So anyway, that's not going to happen. But anyway.
Well, another belle of the ball, Matthew Pavin, is the winner of the Farmers Insurance Open. He's the first French player to win on the PGA Tour since 1907.
My goodness. Yeah, that's a long time. I was trying to think. I thought we had a Frenchman that won the Masters a few years ago, but I guess not. Maybe he was an Englishman. But, yeah, that doesn't happen very often. Obviously, France being a smaller country, you're going to have some great players every now and then come along, and obviously a lot of great European players are out there. But, yeah, you don't hear about too many players coming out of France. It's usually more out of England or Spain,
You don't hear about many French, golf courses either, do you, Alan?
No, it's
None come to
not.
mind.
It's just nothing comes to mind. You're right. I mean, it's just not. That's just not a part of the world, right? In that particular, again, it's surrounded by golf, but that particular country just doesn't care about it as much, and you don't see a lot of that. So it may be another 100 years before we see this happen again.
Well, I'm kind of dating myself, but when I think of French golf, I think of Jean Van de Velde in the Open that year.
Oh, my gosh. Yeah, one of the greatest collapses of all time in any tournament, but especially to do it in a major. I remember watching that live, and when he hit the ball down in the burn and then tried to get out, and he didn't, and all that. I mean, it's a nightmare. Anybody that's not familiar with that, go to YouTube and check out Jean Van de Velde and the British Open collapse. It was probably in the early 90s, if I remember correctly. Late 80s,
I want to say it was it Justin Leonard that ended up taking that Open that year?
That sounds right, but it's like a lot of things in sports. We always remember the guy who screwed up. We never remember the hero afterwards. So yeah, that was sad. If it wasn't for Greg Norman throwing the Masters away 2 or 3 times, then we would probably think of Van de Velde as a big choker. But thanks to Norman throwing away the Masters more than once, we kind of think of him as the Masters or major collapses.
That's kind of like everybody remembering Bill Buckner, but they don't remember that Ray Knight actually scored the run in that game to give the Mets that win.
Yeah, I was going to bring up that exact same thing, Buckner.
Kind of a side note to that, too. I used to work at a restaurant on the beach a number of years back, and Ray Knight was actually there. And he's actually, connection to golf, married to Nancy Lopez, and they were both at the restaurant, so we got to see them together for a few moments.
That's awesome. Nancy was one of the greatest players in golf history, male or female. She was a great champion and just a great ambassador for the game. I've never gotten to meet her, but, yeah, she did so much for women's golf back in the 70s and 80s.
Alan, let's get back to a little bit of a product here, not necessarily sponsoring one or, picking out one in particular, but what if you, as an average golfer, what should one look for in a putter?
Putter, I think the most important thing is the look, the feel, and kind of like sort of this sense of, can I control it? So, and what I mean by that is, so I look at it first, I have to like the look, right? Because that's confidence. I have to like the alignment. I have to like maybe the color of the metal. I have to like whether it's big or small, a mallet or a blade, that kind of stuff. So I like the look first. Then I putt with it. Does it feel good? Do I like the way the ball comes off the face? Is it too soft? Is it too firm? Whatever. Once I've decided I like the look and I like the feel, now it's, do I have distance control with it? Is the ball going where I think it's going? Because I can't get into it right now because we'd be here all night, but there are so many nuances to like putter hosels and shaft length and lie angle and loft and all these things that control where the ball goes. So if you can't get the ball to kind of in a general, most of the time go where you want it to go anyway, then tweaking it, it's like that's just too much work. You know what I mean? That's like a transmission at that point. We want it to be a little thing. We want it to be an oil change fix, not a transmission. So if you can get the general gist of it through all those things, then you're on a good path, and then we just need to kind of fit some details. But if you pick up a putter, you like the look, you like the feel, but everything you hit goes a foot left, or you can't get the ball to the hole, then you just need to put it back on the rack and start over. You know, I had a guy in the store today, he took over an hour to pick out a putter, and that's not normal, but good for him because he spent the time and did his due diligence and found the one he wanted. So,
Absolutely.
But he tried every putter in the store.
So, Alan, real quick, I'm just curious to know, you brought up the way the putter looks first, like that was the most important. And I would think that, you know, the functionality, you know, how it feels in your hand and like how you're able to use it would be more important. But bringing it up, like just the confidence about the way that looks, that just, well, one, it seems kind of shallow and vain, but then two, it just seems like that would be like the last of the things on the list.
No, it's kind of like a pair of running shoes. If I'm going to go run, I need the running shoes to fit properly, and I need them to be the right type of shoe for the kind of running that I'm going to do, right? Long distance, sprinting, whatever. So you're right. Functionality is huge. Fit is huge. But if I don't like the way it looks, I'm not even going to have the confidence to then use that product, whether it's running shoes or whether in this case it's a putter, whatever it is. So you have to love the look first and be confident and be happy with it. And then we worry about all those other things. I've done putter fittings where I put putters in people's hands that they didn't like, and I'm like, no, I'm telling you, this is the putter for you. And they always end up coming back and saying, no, you know, I'm going to try that other one. I think because they already had it kind of in their mind. So we have to get past that, and we usually can't for most people. So maybe we can switch them on, you know, a little bit of a different look or whatever, but if they have a certain brand in mind or if they're used to a certain thing, you know, it's just tough. But, I think look is even though the look has nothing to do with making the putt, it has everything to do with confidence.
Awesome. Alan, so what advice would you give somebody like myself who is a grip it and rip it kind of person that, you know, they keep getting told, okay, well, if you just went 75% instead of 100%, and then I look at somebody like a monkey doing a math problem when I don't know how to do 75%. What advice would you give somebody like myself?
Yeah, so I don't agree with the 75%. It's too much because when you try to take that much off your swing, two things happen. Your mechanics break down because you're focusing on speed instead of focusing on what you're supposed to be doing, which is just swinging. And then the other thing that happens is generally people just end up yanking the ball dead left when they try to take too much off. So I'm a 90 to 95% guy. My thing is your swing all the time, especially with the driver, should be, in my opinion, 90 to 95% of your power. You know, you save that 100% for every now and then when you're absolutely trying to get every last drop out of it. Maybe you're in a scramble and you're just trying to show off, or maybe you just have something you've got to clear, you know, a bunker down the fairway or water or whatever. But I think if every normal swing for you is 90 to 95%, then that's a measurement that you can think of like, okay, I'm not swinging all out, but I'm darn close. And that, to me, it allows you to maintain your power, maintain your posture, maintain all of the physicality of what you're trying to bring to it. And, you know, that's the way Tiger and that's the way John Daly used to play, and that's the way guys like Rahm and stuff play to this day. Just hit it as far as you can, go find it, and then hit it again. And that works for most people, even though that's not going to be the most target-accurate golf. I mean, let's face it, most of us can't hit our target from 200-plus yards anyway, so I say just hit it, go find it, and do it again.
Right on. I love that. Quick question, Alan, with the temperatures fluctuating, do you find like, okay, with like your clubs in your bag in the morning when it's cooler, they act a little differently to potentially to like later in the day when they get warmed up by the sun and they're not cold? Is that going to affect the way the club is used and like the reaction of the club and like just like flexibility, things of that nature?
The clubs won't be affected by it because you're going to be swinging them so hard they're going to move anyway, but the ball will be affected. The ball will be affected by the cold. So in colder weather, a lot of times guys will go to a slightly softer ball because the ball is just not going to fly as far. They've done some testing. It has to get pretty cold for the ball really to start to lose massive distance. But even, at this temperature, at, 50 degrees to 60 degrees, ball's not going to fly quite as far as it will at 85 to 90 degrees outside. So basically what I do is when I'm playing in the cold, I just take one extra club until I've adjusted to whatever the temperature is going to be that day until I kind of see where we're going to be. The other thing that can happen, obviously, is sometimes the greens can be affected by cold. Ball may not stop as quickly and things like that. So there's some elemental things, but a lot of times that depends on the grass, and that's, too heady right now. But the ball is the bigger issue than the clubs in temperate weather, cold weather.
All right, Alan, let's get back to the PGA Tour before we have to get out of here. Who do you think takes the next step forward this season?
Well, interestingly enough, I'm going to bring up a name that nobody's even thought about, and that's Anthony Kim. He's starting to resurface in stories online. He disappeared years ago with an injury. He had an insurance clause.
He was on the Valhalla Ryder Cup team, correct?
Yeah, exactly. Basically, if he comes back, if he had come back, he was going to, void all this money he had taken from the insurance company that had basically said his career was over. So, there's rumors about him coming back. I think that would be kind of neat. He was an incredible golfer.
Mm-hmm.
He was an incredible player. Now, a lot of years have gone by. Who knows, what that would be. And I don't think, he couldn't just jump right back on tour and regain status anyway. But if I had to pick somebody that's on tour right now, I think this year is Schauffele's year to kind of show off. I think he's kind of been waiting in the wings for a while, and I really think Xander Schauffele's going to have a big year, kind of push his way back into the winner's circle and kind of show off a little bit. And also, I think Morikawa is going to have a year as well. I think he's kind of settled in. He's had those early bumps in his career, but he's also had a lot of success, and I think he's poised to do great things again this year.
What can we expect from Tiger?
Not much. I don't think you're going to see much of Tiger. I think, he'll probably come back and play the Masters, but if you don't see him play really, really well super early on, he's going to fade into the sunset because he doesn't like not being relevant.
Right.
And if he can't be relevant, he's not going to play.
All right. Well, Alan, make sure, but let everybody know where they can find you, Mr. Alan Watson.
Yeah, we're at Golf Plus at the shops at Edgewater, right across from the Edgewater Golf Villas. We also have a store, and that's on Panama City Beach. And then we also have a store up in Dothan, Alabama, if you're up just slightly north of us. So, yeah, check us out.
All right. Well, Alan Watson, we appreciate you. We do have to run real quick. Make sure you stay tuned tomorrow for the Coach James Hale Show between 7 and 9. And Afternoon Underdogs right back here again from 4 to 6. You've been riding with the Afternoon Underdogs tonight. And for Caveman Rick, I'm AG. We are out.
Take ESPN Northwest Florida with you everywhere you go.
Anytime, any place, anywhere.
The sports talk and live play-by-play doesn't have to end when you get out of the car. The